No intro. This video is going to cover money. The first thing we need to talk about is imperial versus old world currency. The empire, since its inception, has been slowly trying to phase out old world currency. Old world currency is any money uh, that was minted or printed by a city, state, or nation, kingdom, what have you, any other geographic power which existed before the war independently. Um, this uniform currency is already providing huge benefits to the economy of Andraste, but nobody really knows how the emperor was able to get it to them or establish it throughout the country so quickly. Um, Old coins can be traded with vendors who still honor them, although normally that only happens in the area where they were minted. But they can otherwise be sold if you don't happen to be in that location for a portion of their value to any imperial tax collector or money changer. Read also banker, right? Um, if you find any of these as loot, I'll always tell you the type and the weight and the approximate value of whatever old world currency you happen across. But I'm not going to expect you to necessarily want to spend it when you can just turn it in for regular gold. It'll be worth more if you can find somebody who's willing to take it. But aside from the very few collectors in the world or what have you, I'm expecting you'll be much more interested in just turning the shit in. Imperial coin, on the other hand, are minted with special dyes that give them distinct and intricate patterns all along the edges of the face of the coin. This makes them extremely recognizable and also very hard to duplicate because these knotted patterns are fine and detailed. And it also means that they can be cut into pieces. This is done quite frequently, and you know, a huge part of the reason for this is because there's a law stating that if any part of the printed face of a coin is still legible, then it has to be accepted as currency. Now, people regularly will cut corners in order to make change for something that they, are holding too much money to buy. And you can continue to do that, regardless of what the denomination of your coin is. You can continue to cut it into finer and finer pieces until such time as it's, barely recognizable, right? But as long as you can see, a little piece of that printed or embossed image, it's still technically currency. Now, once you get below 1/8 of a coin, these are commonly called pennies or drabs or chits. And, being recognizable as officially minted coin doesn't necessarily save something that's smaller than 1/8 of a coin from being kind of discarded, right? By law, they're supposed to accept these, but mostly that's not enforced because once you get to a certain size, what's expected to have happen is that you're going to turn those over to your tax collector. The tax collector is going to weigh them and then give you the same or very similar value of coinage back, so that those are removed and then reminted into new coins. Most sophisticated businesses that take place in cities and such are still willing to accept these, especially if it's a higher denomination coin like electrum or gold or platinum. And they'll often have a set of scales that they can just use to weigh your shit right there, as opposed to making you go trade them in or whatever. In spite of Emperor Andros's best efforts, most of the people in the empire don't actually bother to use money because most people in the empire don't live in a city and they're still very close to subsistence farming. Those types of communities, let's say 95% of the total population, are not really going to find money particularly valuable. Certainly not as valuable as food or tools or materials. right? Something that's going to help them actually survive and do better with their harvest. Bottom line here is undeveloped communities commonly don't accept money. They focus much more on barter and trade. And even if you are in an established community, you should expect that barter and trade will still be an option. After all, there are more types of wealth than just coins. There are rubies and gemstones, there are pieces of art, there are ingots, there are letters of credit, there's pieces of land that you might own title to. All of those things are wealth, and all of them can be leveraged for a clever player. Um, I am going to be using the PHB currency system with only minor changes. I add iron and steel coins to the list. Um, you should think about money as being roughly equivalent to modern United States dollars in order to help keep it straight. Um, so, for the record, the list in order of value goes like this: copper, iron, steel, silver, electrum, gold, platinum. Okay, so we just wedge in iron and steel between copper and silver. The actual value breakdown, I'm putting in terms of American US dollars in 2019 because I think it will help you guys to uh, better understand the approximate values of things in the marketplace as opposed to just saying it's X number of gold compared to X number of electrum or what have you. So a copper coin is roughly equivalent to 25 cents. An iron coin is roughly equivalent to $1. A steel coin is roughly equivalent to $5. A silver coin is roughly equivalent to $20. An electrum coin is roughly equivalent to $50. A gold coin is roughly equivalent to $100. And a platinum coin is roughly equivalent to $1,000. Okay? And that's it. That's literally everything that you need to know about money and doing business in the world of Andraste.